Good morning. I wish I were there with you. Appreciate your understanding that I'm home because I have COVID and I'm having to stay away from people. But I appreciate also that you're being flexible about this. You know, many of you have heard me say over the years, as I've started countless speeches by saying, isn't it a great day to be in Austin, Texas? Well, today is not a great day. It's been a really tough week for all of us, and for many Austinites, it's still not over. We've let our people down, and we got to do better by them. We have a lot of challenges in our city, and I've been doing my best over the past month as mayor to begin tackling them. This is going to take some time, and I'm going to need your help. But we are going to right this ship, and we're going to move our great city forward. I want to say thank you to Movability for inviting me to talk about where we are with some of Austin's mobility challenges. These issues have been a constant thread during my years of public servant. Your board chair, Sandy Guzman, knows that all too well. One could say I've been around the block a time or two. Well, for too long, we were hamstrung by the lack of funding to address our mobility needs. Today is a different story. We're now looking at around $25 billion worth of investment in various transportation infrastructure, including the airport expansion, I-35 reconstruction, and Project Connect. And that's on top of the ongoing work on the city's corridor, bike, and pedestrian projects, not to mention all the projects that are underway in cities and counties across Central Texas being done by local, regional, and state entities. With all of these investments in infrastructure, we have an incredible, once-in-a-generation opportunity to shape how our region grows while also tackling big problems like affordability, workforce development, economic opportunity, and quality of life. Let me tell you, we will not squander this opportunity. So this morning, let's set aside the discussion about the airport, I-35, and all the rest of it. Today, I'd like to talk about and focus on Project Connect. When the voters of Austin dedicated a portion of the city's tax rate to implement Project Connect, they chose to invest in a more affordable and sustainable future for our economy. Project Connect is going to help our city reduce CO2 emissions, improve safety, and it's going to give folks a viable alternative to a car, which can save families a whole lot of money. The voters also chose to dedicate $300 million to combat displacement in Project Connect corridors, committing in order to help people struggling with affordability. The Community Advisory Committee of the Austin Transit Partnership has been working very hard to identify and prioritize our needs. The first tranche of that money has been allocated to 14 community organizations, and the funds ought to start flowing this month. Dedicating $300 million to address displacement pressures in the corridors was an inspired decision. But we must do more both to address the needs of our community and to be competitive for federal transit funding. As part of that effort, we'll soon be taking up the plan for equitable transit-oriented development, also known as ETOD. The vision for ETOD is for walkable areas near transit stations that include a mix of public space as well as commercial and residential uses with a deliberate focus on equity and affordability. I also hope it will help neighborhoods in realizing benefits from being near density along the transit corridor. But for that vision to ever become a reality, we need to get our transit system right. Capital Metro right now has a lot on its plate, coordinating with the Austin Transit Partnership on operations of the new light rail system, delivering the Project Connect Metro Rapid Lines ASAP, and working toward an integrated transit system where bus plus rail equals more than the sum of the parts. Meanwhile, the Austin Transit Partnership is the independent entity that was created to implement the light rail program of projects. It brings together community members as well as representatives from the city of Austin, which is providing the local funding for light rail, and Capital Metro, which will operate the light rail system once it's built. The creation of an independent entity was integral to the success of the 2020 tax rate election. And according to a recent report from a national think tank, it's also a best practice recommended to American communities in order to deliver good light rail projects more consistently. We've been working our way through some startup challenges, that's honest. But ATP is now well positioned to deliver a light rail system. And that is a very, very big deal. Light rail has been an elusive goal for Austin for well over 2 decades. And now it's really going to happen. As we all know, construction inflation has affected every infrastructure project. So we've had to recalibrate our expectations to live within our means while focusing on the community goals and the priorities that voters supported when they approved this historic investment. To that end, ATP has been sharpening their pencils and digging into the details to develop several viable options for the first phase of light rail. ATP will soon be asking for public input on the various options with the aim of approving an updated light rail implementation plan in June. The good news is that we have the resources to create a light rail system that will make a huge difference in our community. But as we expected, there will be trade-offs with each of those options that we as a community need to understand and consider. The outcome might not, in fact, probably will not, fit your idea of perfection or my idea of perfection. But we can't let the ideal get in the way of moving forward. We must be biased toward action. And we can't afford to get it wrong any more than we can afford to get bogged down. We can and must take the time to give due consideration to our options and listen intently to the input from the many experts working on these projects. As I've been considering the various options, I keep going back to the community values and goals that have driven this project from the beginning. And I ask myself, which options will best serve transit riders? How will they shape the community we want for our future? And will they help build the mobility system we need to meet the demands of our region? To ensure public confidence that we're on the right track, I've asked ATP to begin a targeted review of the project. The goal is to have actual subject matter experts from around the world check our work. I've been assured that this could be accomplished in 90 days and shouldn't slow down the process for light rail. At the same time, we have a new opportunity, an opportunity to perhaps accelerate the Green Line commuter rail from downtown Austin through Manor to Elgin. The city of Austin has recently approved the financing agreement for the Colony Park Sustainable Community Master Plan, which could be served and enhanced by commuter rail. That wasn't a viable option before, but it is now. For these reasons, I'm asking ATP to accelerate the funding for the Green Line feasibility study and reevaluate the timing of the Green Line project. Travis County Commissioner Jeff Trevelyan, who is also the Capital Metro Board Chair and an ATP board member, is extremely well positioned to take the lead on ensuring a thorough vetting of this opportunity. Now, while much of our focus with this project has been on investing in transportation infrastructure, it's essential that we ensure Austinites feel the economic benefits of these investments. The economic benefits are also very important. In many ways, Austin's economy is the envy of the state, the world, and I'm thinking probably the universe. We have economic diversity with strengths in advanced manufacturing, technology, healthcare, and more. This diversity creates a resilience that served us well. We're often one of the last cities to experience a downturn and one of the first to recover. Unfortunately, not everyone is thriving in this bustling economy. We need to redefine our economic development goals to ensure that all Austinites are a part of this economy and have the opportunity to grow their careers with this economy. Right now, we have a unique opportunity to ensure that our infrastructure investments are paired with workforce and talent development for everybody. We must start by understanding exactly what our workforce needs are going to be in order to build and operate all of these mobility projects. To that end, Workforce Solutions Capital Area will be partnering with ATP and Capital Metro to develop a comprehensive needs analysis, study, or work plan to make sure that we understand what it will take to deliver these programs. This will be a first in Austin, Texas. Then we will unapologetically and relentlessly focus on making sure Austinites have the training and education to access good careers while we improve mobility. In other words, it's time for Austin to see mobility and infrastructure projects, not as a rail or tarmac or road building, but as a community building, providing the means for Austinites to build careers and financial security for their families. The mobility workforce study is just the beginning. It will create our roadmap so that we thoroughly understand what our workforce needs are and how we build a talent pipeline to meet those needs. But it will also help us understand barriers that get in the way of Austinites participating in our economic success. Access to affordable childcare. That is one example of an enormous problem in our community, and it keeps folks from being able to unlock economic opportunities. I promise you'll soon hear a lot more from me about that issue. Our generational investment in mobility can and must be coupled with generational opportunities for those in Austin right now and for all Austinites. It's time to get this done and to get it done right. Thank you, and I hope to see you all soon.